This video talks about the moment Cooper accidentally runs into House at the fundraiser and why that encounter matters far more than it appears. We'll examine Cooper's conversation with Charles,
Robert House is just one person,
the ideology behind the kill order, the bathroom confrontation with House, and how that single moment echoes into the present-day chaos involving the NCR, the Legion, Victor's damaged memory, and the mystery of House's fate. By the end, the real question won't be whether Cooper made the wrong choice. It'll be whether he ever truly had a right one. There was a moment when Cooper could have ended everything. Not a war, not a faction, not even a man, but a future. And instead of pulling the trigger, he walked away. On first watch, Cooper running into House in a bathroom feels like coincidence, a bit of dramatic irony thrown in for the audience. We know who House is, Cooper doesn't. End of story.
What do you know about Robert House? All I heard is that he's building some kind of weapons system in Vegas.
But that reading misses what the scene is actually doing. This wasn't a random encounter. It was a deliberately constructed moral checkpoint, one that tests not just Cooper's mission, but the belief system that led him there in the first place. By the time Cooper arrives at the fundraiser, he's already been psychologically cornered. He asks Charles about House, and Charles confirms what Cooper feared. House is working on a weapon capable of triggering a nuclear holocaust. That word isn't used lightly. It reframes the entire mission from assassination to prevention. Moldaver doesn't want House dead out of revenge or politics. She wants him removed because, in her view, he represents an extinction-level threat. Cooper is visibly weighed down by this responsibility, and Charles sees it. More importantly, Charles understands how to reshape that burden into something Cooper can carry. Charles' argument is quiet, almost gentle, but it's devastating in its implications. He points out that the veterans being celebrated at the event are praised as heroes, yet many of them killed innocent people simply because they were told to. They pointed, they shot, and history sanitized the consequences. Charles isn't condemning them. He's condemning the system that allowed obedience to replace moral agency. And then he delivers the pivot. Cooper, unlike those soldiers, knows exactly who he's being asked to kill. There's no confusion, no fog of war, no propaganda. House is bad. House will cause mass death. Killing him is not blind obedience. It's informed action. This is where Charles' philosophy becomes dangerous. He frames murder as moral clarity. In doing so, he removes the last layer of ambiguity that might allow Cooper to refuse. According to Charles, there is no alternative path. There is no negotiation, no containment, no delay. Killing House is the only way. Cooper asks if there's another option.
But there's got to be another way.
And Charles shuts it down immediately. This isn't about choice anymore. It's about duty. And in that moment, Charles becomes exactly what he claims to oppose, a man issuing an order and trusting that the weight of catastrophe will force compliance. Then comes the bathroom scene, the moment that defines everything. When Cooper steps into the restroom, he isn't preparing to confront House. He's trying to breathe, and that's when House appears. Calm, curious, completely unthreatened. Cooper doesn't recognize him, and that ignorance is crucial. For the first time, Cooper isn't speaking to the man who must die. He's speaking to a stranger, and House takes advantage of that immediately. He asks questions. He listens. He observes. This isn't small talk. It's reconnaissance. House's language gives him away long before his identity does. He casually uses a slur to describe Charles, marking his disdain for left-leaning or liberal ideologies. This isn't just political flavor. It's philosophical positioning. House views the world through power structures, not moral ones. When he questions Cooper about where he stands, he isn't curious about Cooper's beliefs. He's testing whether Cooper has any that would survive pressure. The conversation shifts to genocide, nationalism, and capitalism, and House's tone never changes. He speaks about mass death the way an engineer talks about system failure. Unfortunate, predictable, and ultimately manageable. House doesn't believe atrocities can be prevented. He believes they can be controlled. This is the core of his ideology. Catastrophe isn't a moral failure. It's a resource to be optimized. He's not trying to shock Cooper. He's trying to normalize inevitability, and Cooper doesn't bite. He doesn't argue. He doesn't agree. He doesn't reveal anything. He walks away. On the surface, that looks like restraint. But narratively, it's hesitation. Cooper has just been given a chance to see the man behind the threat, not the future consequences, not the theoretical death toll, but the human being who believes all of it is unavoidable. And Cooper can't reconcile that man with the certainty Charles demands of him. Killing House in that bathroom wouldn't feel like stopping an apocalypse. It would feel like executing a future crime. Cooper isn't afraid of House. He's afraid of being wrong. That's why this moment matters. Cooper isn't choosing mercy. He's choosing uncertainty. And in this world, uncertainty is often deadlier than evil. The acceptance speech that follows doesn't resolve this tension. It reinforces it. Charles speaks about the inhumanity of war, about how it shouldn't be celebrated because the bloodshed should never have happened. And then he pivots again. Conflict, he says, is inevitable. Since war cannot be avoided, the only moral choice left is how one fights and who one protects. This contradiction sits at the heart of Charles' worldview. War is wrong, but unavoidable. Killing is tragic, but necessary. Moral responsibility exists, but only within the boundaries Charles defines. When Charles passes the lighter to Cooper instead of keeping it, the symbolism is unmistakable. This isn't gratitude, it's succession. The lighter represents fire, destruction and survival, warmth and annihilation. Charles is handing Cooper the philosophy, along with the burden. Whether Cooper wants it or not, he's now carrying that spark. Cut to the present day, and you can see exactly what that unresolved moment has done to him. Cooper watches Lucy talk about making the world better through kindness, and he scoffs. He doesn't debate her. He doesn't mock her outright. He dismisses the idea as naive because he's already seen where idealism ends. But notice this. He doesn't reject Lucy entirely. He recognizes that he'll need her help. That's not respect, that's pragmatism. Cooper has become someone who believes people are useful before they are right. When he spots the two Caesars and immediately deduces that a civil war is underway, it confirms that the world has unfolded exactly as both Charles and House predicted. Endless conflict, fractured power, no clean victories. Cooper understands immediately that he can't face two Legion factions alone, so he does what he's always done. He looks for leverage. He heads to the NCR Country Club, expecting order, structure, allies. Instead, he finds nothing. No people, no leadership, no help. Just Victor, a Securitron with a damaged memory drive, endlessly looping fragments of a broken past. Victor isn't just comic relief or exposition. He's a metaphor. History in this world is corrupted, incomplete, and selectively erased. Truth survives only in pieces, and even machines can't remember it clearly. Victor confirms that the NCR and the Legion are constantly at each other's throats. The factions change, the violence doesn't. And then comes the line that fractures the timeline entirely.
Where's Robert House?
He's gone.
House is gone. Victor doesn't say missing. He doesn't say hiding. He says gone. And when he connects House's dream of immortality to the Cold Fusion project, the implications become terrifying. House wanted to live forever. Not just physically, but ideologically. Cold Fusion wasn't about energy. It was about permanence. A world where House's vision couldn't be dismantled because it would outlive him. So if House is dead, why is Hank talking to someone who sounds exactly like him? There are only three possibilities. Either House succeeded and achieved a form of immortality, spreading the belief that he's dead to protect his secret. Or House failed physically but succeeded conceptually, leaving behind systems and proxies that continue his work. Or Victor's memory, like history itself, is wrong. The show deliberately refuses to answer this, because the ambiguity is the point. And this brings us back to Cooper's choice. If Cooper had killed House in that bathroom, none of this uncertainty would exist. Not because it would have saved the world, we can't know that, but because it would have collapsed the timeline into a single outcome. Cooper didn't fail because he was weak. He failed because he was human. He wanted certainty before committing to irreversible violence. And certainty is the one thing this world never offers. Charles believed killing House would stop the apocalypse. House believed the apocalypse was inevitable and manageable. Cooper believed there might be another way. By choosing to wait, Cooper didn't choose hope. He chose delay, and delay allowed the worst possibilities to survive. That bathroom wasn't a coincidence. It was the last clean choice Cooper ever had, and he left it behind with the door still open.